Today we're talking about overthinking. If you've ever lied in your bed at 2 a.m. and couldn't sleep because your brain won't shut off by replaying that awkward thing you said 3 days ago, or worrying about tomorrow's interview, or spiraling about whether someone's upset with you because they haven't texted back. Sound familiar? This video is for you. Today, we are breaking down the science and spirituality of overthinking, and I am going to give you 5 practical tools to finally quiet that mental noise. With these steps, you will cut down your overthinking almost right away. Now, I know these work because I dealt with overthinking for over 10 years, and I didn't even know it was something I could fix until I learned about it. Hello, I'm Yang. I help you quiet the overthinking, find your inner peace, and trust your intuition to align within so you can expand what you thought possible. Let's start by getting crystal clear on what overthinking actually is. Overthinking isn't the same as regular thinking. Regular thinking is productive. It helps you solve problems and make decisions. Overthinking is repetitive, obsessive, and focused on the problem itself rather than any solution. Here's my definition. Overthinking is when you spend a surplus of energy on something completely outside of your control. Think about it. When do we ever overthink something we can actually change? Never. Instead, we spiral about things like, what if my boss thinks I'm incompetent? Or what if I'm not good enough? Or what did they mean by that message? The cruel irony is that overthinking sticks your brain into believing you're being productive. Your mind thinks, if I just analyze this enough, I will prevent the worst outcome. But that's not true. You're not preparing for anything. You're just creating your own suffering. Let's imagine this. You are preparing for a job interview. You spend hours spiraling. What if I'm not prepared enough? What if they don't like me? What if I fail and I'm unemployed forever? And there is an other version of you who acknowledges the uncertainty. They say, there's a real chance I might not get this job, but there's nothing more I can do. It's out of my hands. I've prepared my best. I choose to believe in my ability rather than to look down on myself. So I'll use this evening to relax and show up refreshed tomorrow. Same situation, completely different approaches. The first version of you thinks that saying this could make you prepare for this worst case scenario, but nothing will ever change from it, and you are only drowning in mental noise. Make you anxious about what's coming, and when it does come, you will show up with that anxious energy, which then will ruin the interview you worry about. Now, you are a different version of you. You are channeling your energy wisely. You know what you can control and what you cannot. You cannot control the outcome, but you can control how you think about yourself. You know how to show up best for yourself by relaxing yourself and tap into your confident energy, which in turn will produce a better result for the interview. Now, I'm not saying the second version of you will never doubt yourself. Doubt and anxiety and fear will show up from time to time, but you don't engage it. You don't pour energy to it and make it an overthinking pattern. You simply acknowledge it exists, then focus back onto what you can control and what you can do right now to empower yourself. Thoughts will appear, but you are not identifying with every thought that comes across your mind. I first learned this from the book Don't Believe Everything You Think by Joseph Nguyen. After finishing this book, I realized that most of our suffering comes not from life itself, but from our thoughts patterns about life. And when we free ourselves from those thoughts, we find peace and clarity. The problem isn't your circumstances, it isn't your job, your relationship, or your past. The problem is believing every thought that crosses your mind. The first version of you aren't suffering because of the interview situation itself. You are suffering because you believed your thoughts about the situation. The interview is neutral. It's the story you're telling yourself that creates the anxiety. It is the energy you're focusing on the negative situation that makes you suffer. But you know what's liberating? You don't have to believe every thought that crosses your mind. And this might be the most important concept you'll ever hear today. Your thoughts aren't you. Think about it for a second. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind the thoughts. You are the observer, not the observed. When you say I'm anxious or I'm a failure, you are over-identifying with a mental event that's just passing through your consciousness. It's just like saying, I am the weather because it's raining outside your window. Thoughts are just like clouds in the sky of your mind. They come, they go. Sometimes they're dark and stormy. Sometimes they're light and fluffy. But you, the sky itself, remain unchanged. And here is a powerful exercise. Next time a negative thought appears, try this instead of fighting it. Simply observe it and say, that's a thought about not being good enough. Or there's worry showing up. Notice the difference? You're not saying I'm not good enough. You are creating space between you and the thought. You are remembering that you are the awareness observing the thought, not the thought itself. This is what Nguyen means when he says we shouldn't believe everything we think. Your thoughts are just mental events. They're not necessarily true. And they're certainly not who you are. I want you to really sit with this. How much of your suffering comes from identifying with your thoughts? How often do you treat every thought as gospel truth instead of what it really is? Let me share a profound truth from the book. Suffering comes from thought, not reality. Most life situations are actually neutral until filtered through our thinking. Let me give you an example. Like you're stuck in traffic. The traffic itself isn't inherently painful. It is neutral. It is just cars on a road. And then your thinking kicks in. I'm going to be late. This always happens to me. My boss will be furious. And why does life always work against me? The story, the interpretation is what creates the suffering. The traffic is just traffic. Your thoughts about traffic create stress, anger, and frustration. And here's another example. Someone doesn't text you back. It is just a fact, a phone without a message. And then your mind creates a story. They're mad at me. They don't like me. I said something wrong. I'm going to lose this relationship. None of that is reality. It's all thought-created suffering. This is what the Buddhist teaching of the two arrows illustrates so beautifully. The first arrow is the actual event. The traffic, the unreturned text. The difficult conversation. That's pain. That's often unavoidable in life. But the second arrow, that's the story you create around it. Why does this always happen to me? What's wrong with me? My life is falling apart. That's suffering. And it's optional. It comes entirely from your thoughts about the situation. When you can see this, really see it, everything changes. You realize you've been making yourself miserable not because of your circumstances, but because of the stories you tell about your circumstances. But the beautiful part is, you can question those stories. You can release those thoughts. Try this exercise. Next time you're upset, pause and ask yourself, what am I thinking right now that's creating this suffering? Not what happened, but what am I thinking about what happened? You often discover that the actual event is manageable. It is the thought spiral around it that's unbearable. But here is an other insight. Most painful thoughts come from living in the past or fearing the future. I should have said this differently. That's past-focused thinking. What if they reject me? That's future-focused thinking. But right now, in this moment, are you okay? Really check in with yourself. Right now, as you're watching this video, are you safe? Are you breathing? Do you have what you need in this exact moment? When you're stuck in traffic, are you fine and safe in the traffic? Most of the time, the answer is yes. The present moment is actually fine. The suffering exists in thoughts about moments that aren't happening right now. And this is the power of now. When you anchor yourself in the present through your breath, through your senses, through simply observing what's actually here, the endless loop of worry cuts off. The past does not exist except as a thought. The future does not exist except as a thought. And all you ever have is right now. And now is usually okay. All life's power exists in the present moment when you learn to focus on the present rather than the past or the future. In this moment, in the now, there is no problem. The problem only exists when your mind travels to yesterday or tomorrow. The peace of mind is actually our natural state. It is not something we have to achieve or earn. It is always there, like a clear sky. It only gets crowded by constant thinking, by the storm clouds of worries, regret, and fear. When you allow thoughts to come and go without grasping onto them, you naturally return to that clarity and calm. You can't create peace by force. You experience peace of mind when you are still in the present. You just have to stop disturbing it with overthinking. Oof, there's a lot to take in. Enough of the theories, you say. I know I'm not my thoughts, but how can I actually stop overthinking when it appears? So now, I'm going to give you 6 powerful techniques to stop overthinking right now. Technique 1, the bring them. Get those thoughts out of your head and onto paper. It's nearly impossible to filter thoughts when they're spiraling in your mind. Write them down, understand your emotions, and make it tangible. Write it down on your notes, in your phone, or in the journal at night. Or if the thoughts are consuming you day in and day out, write down the thoughts on paper. Then rip it up. Shred it, burn it safely, throw it away. Physically release it and watch how you feel lighter. You are literally practicing not believing that thought anymore. And technique 2, don't fight negative thoughts. Observe them. Remember, resistance strengthens what you resist. When you fight a thought, I shouldn't feel this way, this is too bad, I need to stop overthinking about this, you actually give it more power. Instead, practice observation without judgment. When the negative thoughts arises, simply acknowledge it. There's worry, or there's a fear of failure again. Then let it flow away like a cloud. Don't engage in the thought. Don't give power to the negative thoughts. You are not the thought. You are the sky watching the cloud passing by. Technique 3, the stop and shift method. When you feel overwhelmed, visualize a bold red stop sign in your mind. You can even say it out loud. Stop. This interrupts the automatic emotional reaction. Now, it doesn't mean you can stop the thought completely, but it creates space between the trigger and your response. Don't engage in the thought and shift the focus to something else instead. Maybe something like watch a series, read a book, or play the video game. Something you can place your focus onto something else for this moment. So when your mind is calmed down, you can shift into solution mode by asking, what's one helpful thing I can do right now? What is the one thing I can control? Or think of a different reaction. If I wasn't feeling upset, how would I respond differently? And technique 4, return to the present moment. Like I said before, all life's power exists in the present moment. When you learn to be in the present, you'll be free of hurt, worry, and anxiety. And grounding yourself is one of the best things you can do to return to the present moment. And I have in other video broke down in detail what grounding is and share some powerful grounding techniques. I'll put the link in the description and you can check it out if you are interested in knowing more about it. But grounding is actually very simple, and you can try some of the techniques with me right now. Take a deep breath. Feel your body in the chair or whatever you're sitting. Feel your body touch the chair or bed. Feel your feet on the ground. When you feel your feet, you are returning your awareness to your body in your present moment. And this is very powerful. And you can use your 5 senses. Notice 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. You're right here in this room or car or whatever you're in. You are fine right now and nothing bad is happening. When you focus on your presence, you cannot focus on the spiraling thoughts. Technique 5, the worry window. Set aside 5 minutes a day. Literally set a timer to worry on purpose. Worry all you want. When the timer goes off, you're done. I find this very helpful. It gives you a channel to express your emotions rather than trying to suppress it. Remember, your emotions and thoughts are not your enemy. It is part of human experiences, but you don't identify with them. You are not your emotions and your thoughts. Negative emotions and thoughts will come up. You cannot resist them, because when you resist, it persists. So we have to find a way to channel it heavily. When you really give space for it to do its work. When you give yourself the permission to do it fully, then your brain will realize, oh, I have experienced it fully, and that's it. I have no more worry to express. Your brain will learn that worry has a boundary and can't exist all day. This technique helps you externalize the worry rather than letting it consume your entire day. And finally, technique 6. Declutter your space. Your outer environment directly affects your inner world. A messy room creates a messy mind. Studies show that people in cluttered space have higher cortisol levels and struggle more with focus. Clean one drawer this week. Organize one corner of your room. Notice how clearing the physical clutter clears mental clutter too. When you organize your external space, you are essentially filing away mental tabs, creating order in your consciousness. Look, overthinking isn't who you are. It is just a habit your mind has developed. And like any habit, you can break it. Start small this week. Pick one technique and practice it. Write down your thoughts and burn them. Set a 5-minute worry window. Clean one drawer. And most importantly, practice observing your thoughts without believing them. Your mind can be your best friend or your worst enemy. The difference is simply whether you believe everything it tells you. True change happens when you deeply realize, oh, I am not my thoughts. These thoughts aren't reality. They are just mental events. I don't have to believe them. That moment of insight changes everything naturally. Without struggle, happiness and peace isn't something you achieve when you get the job, the relationship, or the money. Happiness and peace is what's left when you stop believing stressful thoughts. It's your natural state when you are not clouding it with overthinking. Nothing outside of you has power over your peace. Only your thinking does. And your thinking is optional. You can observe it without believing it. Remember, you are the sky, not the cloud. The clouds will come and go. Dark ones, light ones, stormy ones. But the sky remains unchanged, clear, and vast. Don't believe everything you think. Question your thoughts, observe them, let them go, and watch how your life transforms. And to help you with that, I have recorded a guided meditation for you when you're in the overthinking spiral. You can check it out here. And if this video resonated with you, let me know in the comments which insight hit hardest, and subscribe for more videos like this to help you quiet your mind and align with your inner power and who you truly are. And I'll see you next time.